on this side of the line, you're in South Africa. If you're on this side of the line, you're in England. All right. 60-second countdown. Whichever side of the line this ball is on, your side wins. Ready? 3. Oh, hang on. I've dropped my clicker. 3, 2, 1. Come on. You can turn it up now. 30 seconds. Find out, shall we? Right, okay, I'm going to come down here because apparently we're doing things all campfire these days. So, okay, then there you go. It's very Ren Collective. Love it. Right, okay, let's move on. All right, so, anyway. Right, I'm going to ask you a question. Are there any holy people in the room? Any holy people in the room? Are there any people who are not Glaswegians so you can understand me? You good? All right, okay, right. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question, right? Who said these immortal words? Ready? How long do I have to put up with you? Who said... Oh, right, okay, now it's all coming out. All right, in the Bible, and reminding you that you're in church, so the answer to any question in church is always... There you go. Jesus said these words. How long do I have to put up with you? Who did he say it to? That answer is not Jesus. Just FYI, all right? Who did he say it to? His own disciples. These are the people who dedicated their lives to following him. And he's like, how long do I have to put up with you? Now that sounds harsh, right? No. Read the thing. He was holding back. I mean, what a bunch of muppets, right? Half the time they didn't believe him. They ran away the moment things got hard. And they were so dumb, right? And yet this is what Jesus had to put up with. When you read the Bible, you end up asking this question. I mean, come on. Did Jesus have a plan B? Or was this it? I mean, it wasn't just the disciples as well. Can we talk about Paul for a minute? I mean, right, let's just talk about this fella, right? So he's going around killing Christians, right? He's murdering Christians for daring to say that Jesus is still alive. And then he sees Jesus and falls off his donkey. Why did Paul fall off his donkey? Well, I think I have a theory. Would you like some theology knowledge right now? Yeah. Come on, here it is, Bible bomb coming at you, okay, right? So picture this, right? You're Jesus, you've been, I mean, hard to picture, but just let's try, okay. So, right, you spent all of eternity building up to this thing that you know you've got to go and do. And then you go and do it, and you live for 30 years amongst people, including these muppets who follow you around for 3 years, right? And you're doing miracles, and you're saving people, and it's all great. And then the bit that you really wasn't looking forward to, you have to be agonizingly killed on a cross. That's not good. But then you come back, and that's really good. And he's giddy. I mean, if you read it, Jesus was clearly very giddy because he went around pranking the morons. It was superb, right? I mean, just occasionally, just popping out of nowhere. It's me, you know, right? And then just like appearing through locked doors. Hi, fellas. You know, right? And with holes in his hands, going up behind Doubting Thomas and going, guess who? Right? I mean, come on. He was having so much fun. But then the bit that he was building up towards, the grand finale, right? He had spent so long working up to this. And you can tell because he had a spot picked out. So he's like, right, go over to that place over there. This isn't good. Go over there. Right, so they go over to this place. And he's like, right, okay, you sit there, you, right, kind of there. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. Right, okay, and then he picks his spot. This is it. This is the right spot. Right, okay, right, this is it. All right. And then he nods to the angel hiding behind a rock. Right, okay, cue the track. Right. And they're all like, what's going on? And he starts to float, and he starts to rise up, and they're all going, whoa! And he's like, I know, right? And then he just starts to raise up into the air, and they're all like, what is happening? And he's like, this is so good, isn't it? And lo, go into all the world and spread the good news. And the angel's like, okay, cue the clouds, and the clouds start to part behind him, you know, and verily I shall be with you until the end of the age, you know, and cue the heavenly host, and all the angels come out to, and all the guys are on the ground, this is epic, this is amazing. And he's like, I know, I've been working so hard from this. Oh, the showmanship. Farewell, farewell, my children. I go to be with my father now. Oh, the ending has happened. I'm so happy.
Welcome back, son.
Oh, thanks, Dad. I thought that went really well.
That was a superb mission, son. That was so good. And that ending...
Did you like it? I worked on that for ages.
Oh, that ending was amazing. That was so theatrical. Oh, hang on. Wait, no. Jesus, someone's killing your disciples.
What?
Yeah, someone's murdering all you... The ones
that I just did the finale for.
Yeah, them's the ones. A fella called Saul is going around killing them. Look, see... You're going to have to go back and stop him.
But I've made me exit now. It was epic. It was perfect.
You're going to have to go back, son.
I can't go back. It's going to look stupid now.
It's the only way, lad.
Oh, good grief.
Boy! Pack it in! You've ruined this, you have.
Right, now, you kind of got to feel sorry for Jesus at this point, because he'd done all that work, he'd done all that epic, amazing work, and he'd left it all in the hands of this bunch of idiots, right? And here's the thing, and this is the amazing act of faith on Jesus' part. If they dropped the ball, everything he did would have died with them. If this bunch of clearly stupid people, if they had dropped the ball, that would have been it. All of Christianity done in a few years, and yet 2,000 years later, we are still here. Okay, you're getting there. I'm going to warm you up, right? Because, right, and then the next generation, right? Now think about it, right? You've never seen Jesus. All you've got to go on is the words of this bunch of morons, and clearly they're morons because they're telling you the truth about what they actually did. I mean, can you imagine? You're like, wait, you said what to Jesus? You know, and they're like, I know, right? You know what? Half the time, I don't think he could even stand us. He thought we were a right bunch of idiots. He thought we were so stupid. You fit right in, you know. I mean, you can imagine the conversations, right? And meanwhile, in Galatia, right, you know, Ethel comes running into the room holding a piece of paper saying, "Good news, fellas, good news. It looks like you didn't have to get circumcised after all." They're all like, "What?" Yeah, it turns out it's of no value whatsoever. Oh, good, great. It's a good job they couldn't run, isn't it? Yikes. I'd be wanting to kill someone. But you know what? They were just as stupid as the bunch who came before. And if they dropped the ball, then everything that we believe, it would have been dead in 2 generations. That would have been it. But 2,000 years later, even that bunch of Muppets must have gotten it right, because we're still here. We still know what they did. We still know what they passed it on, because they didn't drop the ball. Here's the thing, guys. If even one generation between then and now had dropped the ball, that would have been it. That would have been the end of it. Even one generation. And think of what they had to go through to carry that. Just think of what they had to put up with. They don't live the life that we live. I mean, thousands and thousands of people put to death. So many people had to move from one part of the world to the other just to carry this to you in order to just stay alive. And all the stupid things that they did along the way, like, good grief, like the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition and all the stupid things. Like, no, get out. No, go away. No, not the week for it. Go. We're not going down that road. Right, okay. So, but we could talk about all the stupid things that the church it would be here forever if we talked about all the time that the people in the church have done idiotic things. But you know what? Here's the thing. Between Jesus and you, there is 101 generations. Not one dropped the ball. Not one dropped the ball. If they had, none of us would be here. None of us would know what we know. None of us would be followers of Jesus. But we are. But we are here. And now you've got the ball. So what are you going to do with it? Pressure. Right? Now I'm aware I've just given you the theological equivalent of a chain letter, right? Okay. You know, you pass this on to 20 people or else the Queen will come round and headbutt you or something, you know? I don't know what it is, right? But the question is, right? 101 generations have carried the ball to you. So now you've got it. And the question is, what are you going to do with the opportunity that you've got? Now you might be asking, well, or Warren, you're just my biggest fan, but you might be asking, John, by the way, men's breakfast 9:30, he forgot to tell Sarah, just so you know. All right, there you go. That message was delivered in Filipino timing. There you go. Hey, right. You asked for it, so you wait till I've got a microphone and then, anyway, right, okay. Right, so you might ask, okay, well, John, what have you been doing? Because you've got the ball as well. I have. So let me show you what I've been doing. Here we go. And that's the tame stuff. Right. But here's the thing. For me, that's what church looks like. And for me, that's what church should look like. And if you disagree, let me show you something disturbing. Here's a graph. Okay, there's the source right there on the screen. This is church attendance, okay, between 1980 and now. And it's split up into age demographics. Can you see the one at the top? That's 20 and under. Do you see the same worrying trend that I see? In one generation, there won't be any. That's it. One generation, no more young people going to church in this country. That's the end. For over a generation now, young people have been leaving churches and not coming back. For over a generation. It's been happening, and as you see, the one below the 20s, that one started to go down. So it started, each generation more than the last started dropping off, and that's just kind of, well, there's a whole bunch of scientific reasons behind, but that leads to this inevitability that the top one disappears altogether. And it will. It will happen in our lifetime. For the first time in British history, we will go from being a Christian country to not. And that's it. One generation. That's why I do what I do, because I'm not accepting this. This isn't good enough. Guys, we've got the ball, and we're fumbling it. We've got the ball, we're dropping it. Now, it's very easy, and I can see a whole bunch of churches that can say, but we're cool. Yes, you are. This is a really cool church. Guys, your church is cooler than mine. And yet, 90% of the teenagers that you get in on a Sunday night are the ones that I bring with me. I'm seeing a problem there. The truth is, new gets old fast. And the older you get, the faster things age. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that you used to be able to keep up with all the sayings, and now you don't even understand the sayings of the people who aren't even cool anymore, right? I mean, it just tends to speed up. Well, that's life. That's the way it is. But here's the thing. Yeah, you are the cool church, so you're the ones with the best chance to do something about this. Like almost no other church in this town, you've got the ball. You can do something with it. This nation is at a turning point like no time before. And you were born for such a time as this. Now, I believe that that's true of everybody, because God doesn't put people where they are by accident. God doesn't do accidents. He's too fine-tuning. He's too good at this. He's put you here because you're the ones to turn this around. And in this town, you're the church to turn this around. You are the ones. I believe that. Is that sounding good? I hope it's not sounding heavy, because this bit is heavy. Are you ready? Any church that fails to reach the next generation dies with this generation. That's truth right there. I mean, beat my logic. Someone, please. Here's where it gets harsh. I believe that any church that fails to reach the next generation deserves to die with this generation. Because if you're not reaching people, you don't deserve them in your building. They don't owe you anything. If you want them, go and give them some life. Right? So if you want them to be building your church, start by building them. If you don't do that, your church deserves to go. That's it. Oof. It's getting heavy real quick, isn't it? Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. All right, I'm glad you're clapping because, this is going to get even heavier. Right? Because here's the thing. I've seen it happen. I've seen churches go from this to that. It's a slow death. It's a slow and painful death. I've watched it happen. It nearly happened to my church. If we hadn't made a very strong decision 16 years ago, before my nephew was born, he wouldn't have a church to grow up into. And there were no youth there at the time. We had to decide before they get there. That's what we had to do. So is that what you're going to decide to do today? Because today is the day we make a choice. Today is the day you decide what you're going to do with the ball that you've got. Because I guarantee, here's what happens. You go from being the it church, you're the ones, you're on the cutting edge, to being, we're a contemporary church. We're modern. To being your mum's church, to being your nan's church, to suddenly there's a church there, right? Okay, you know the old stone building that, does anything happen in there? Yes. Once a week, the Frozen Chosen meet in there, right? All the 6 old people, the guardians of the Museum of Clutter, where you can't move anything because it's too precious to them, and they're arguing about how we're going to pay the heating bills, right? We're laughing out of familiarity because you've seen it, right? You've seen it, you know it happens. Do you want to be that? Do you want that to be the future of this church? Well, guys, don't drop the ball, because you got the ball right now. You have got the ball, and here's the thing: if you don't pass it, sooner or later you're going to run out of pitch. But if you don't raise someone to pass it to, it's over. Yeah. It's that simple. And here's the thing, that moment where you've got to look around for who to pass it to, it happens sooner than you think. Is this starting to hit home? Is this hitting home? Good. Because here's the thing, I don't want this to sound like a telling off, but I want you to understand that there are stakes involved. There are stakes involved for this church. You are one generation away from obsolescence. And in this country, we are one generation away from a non-Christian country. One generation. That's it. And that generation is already grown. It's already raised. They're already becoming the adults of tomorrow. So I'm not talking about the little kids that are in the room. If we don't get the people between you and them, it's too late. It's over. That's it. Now then, if this is starting to sound heavy, good, because it is. But I want you to understand something. God is moving here. Yeah. I believe that God is moving here. Me and Phil believe that God is moving here. I believe that God is moving here. Come on. I see it. I feel it. But you know what? I sometimes think that we look in the wrong place. So, he who has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying. Right? God designed you with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Take the hint. Right? Listen twice as much as you speak. If you want to be blessed of God, then look for what God is blessing and do that. Right? This church has been struggling with numbers on a Sunday while you've been growing like crazy on a Friday. Yeah. Where do you think God is growing you? Where do you think God is moving you? Where do you think God is blessing this church? Where do you think he's giving you the hint? That's the blessing. Go work on it. Come on, are we all there? Right, now some people are feeling this. Okay, that's good. That's wonderful. But guys, the game is on. God is moving. You've got the ball. It's time to pass it on. It's time to raise a generation to pass this on to, so that you can grow old without any worries, because you've raised that generation to carry what comes next. Come on. But guys, here's the thing. Today, young people in this area are struggling with not one of those, every single one of those. In fact, I got a whole bunch of my youth here. Does any of you... Okay, is there anything on there that you don't recognize among the people who you personally know? Or would you say that you know someone who's dealing with every single one of those? Every single one of those you know someone who's dealing with, and I'm going to guess more than one, right? This is their world. This is what we are leaving for them to inherit. I say it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. So I'm going to do something about it. For you? Because I think they deserve better. At the end of the day, guys, this is your area. These neighbours of yours, these are your children. These are not just their parents' children, they're your children. God put them in this area, and he put you in this area. And believe me, he's watching what you do. He is watching how we treat them. He is watching how we consider them. If ever you're in doubt, just read the Bible, what God has to say about children. and how much he loves them, and how much he loves those who are good to them, and what he thinks about those who are not. Go read the Bible. It is not short of words on this. These are your children, and he's watching what you do. Now, this is sounding heavy. I'm not apologizing, but it's not meant to. See, I want to give you some hope. Have you ever, I mean, a whole bunch of people in here, you've brought someone to the church for the first time, right? You've brought someone through, and you've seen them come to Jesus, and you've seen that hope for the first time in their eyes, right? And you've seen them come alive. You've seen them recognize, oh, good grief, this is true. And you've seen them worship for the first time, right? Have you ever experienced that? Right? Okay, it's so good, but you've no idea what it's like when it happens to a child that you brought through. When it happens to one who was young and you mentored them, and now they're growing up and they're growing strong in God and they're starting to do stuff, you've no idea what it's like. All of those terrible things on there, those are opportunities for you to save someone's life by rescuing them from one of those things. Every single one of those things is something that you can rescue a young person from. Come on. Brilliant. I mean, do you want to do that? Would you like to see that happen? Because you can. You've got the ball. The ball is in your hands. Just don't drop it. That's all you got to do. Guys, don't get weight from me today. I'm not putting weight on your shoulders. I'm giving you the most amazing opportunity. This is not obligation. Guys, this is not what you should be doing. This is what you could be doing. Yeah. And believe me, you have no idea. You can't imagine. Good grief, right. This summer, right, I was at Soul Survivor, because for the last time ever, and I took a whole bunch of young people, and I'm just sat there and reading a book, because it's one of the few times I get the peace to read a book, right, and one of the youth, right, who, I'm not naming names, right, she'd only come to us in the, don't be turning round, right, one of the youth that came to us just like in the last year or so, year 18 months, and I've seen her go through so much, and I've seen her progress, and you know, like, at times you wonder, are they just coming because it's fun, or are they starting to get it, you know? But when you see that they're actually singing the words on a Sunday, you're like, oh, I have butterflies, you know? When you see them singing the songs with their eyes closed, you're thinking, oh, it's working, you know? Right? And then they start raising their hands, and then they go to the service at Soul Survivor, and they're all, they're probably going for it, and you're like, whoa, melting, you know? But part of you is wondering, is it just because of the euphoria, because it's a big event, and everybody can get carried away? But the next day I'm sat there and reading a book, and she comes down and she just plonks herself in front of me, opens up the Bible that she's just bought, and the Bible study that she's just bought, and she's just in it now, and you're just like, oh. You can't imagine what it's like. Guys, you can't imagine. I mean, good grief. Right, when some guy comes to your youth work, right, on Friday, he just turns up one day and you think, oh, good grief, he looks strange. And he does, and he still does. But, you know, and he was a moron, but you know what? He was an atheist moron then, but he's God's moron now. It's good. Right, but here's the thing. You've seen him go through so much. You've seen him battle through so much. You've seen him overcome so much. You've seen him make some really stupid mistakes that break your heart. But you can't just go in there and slap him and say, what are you doing? You've just got to kind of be there for him. But you know what? He starts asking the right questions. He starts going in the right direction. He starts doing some things, and even some stuff happens, and it is life-threatening. And you know it's happening, but you can't do anything about it. But then God shows up in his life and turns him around completely, and all of a sudden you think, good grief, he's going to overtake me. He's doing so well. He's up at the front with his hands in the air. He's been set free for the first time, and you see him, and he's buzzing. He's like he's floating in the air, and good grief, you can't imagine what it feels like. Guys, you can't imagine what it feels like. You can't imagine it. You really, really can't. I mean, when some girl comes, right, and back in the day, and she's a bit of a pop punker, if you know what I mean, right, and she comes along, and she's just full of self-doubt. I mean, she doesn't believe in herself at all. And then as you get talking to her over the years, because it takes years for this to unravel, you find that she's just been bullied, and she's just been abused by people, verbally abused, and boyfriends have treated her terribly, and friends have treated her horribly, and she just, you just find out that she's beating herself up on the inside all the time. She doesn't believe anything good can come from her life. She doesn't believe she deserves anything. And when you start speaking truth to her, and you start showing her that God actually loves her, and she goes to Soul Survivor for the first time, and she actually encounters that love. But even then it takes longer, because you come back and you have conversations and you just pray for these people. I can't, and she starts crying, and when she starts crying in front of you, but you know that these are tears of letting go. These are tears of coming to know something, coming to realize something, coming alive, and you just think you're being set free right now. You don't even know it, but you're being set free. Guys, you can't imagine what it feels like. I mean, wow. I mean, when every member of your band in your church, everyone is a previously unchurched young person who had no hope, who had no vision, and now every single one of them is leading God's people in worship. And you know, and you're looking at them, and every week, I mean, the first time I took a Sunday off, I'm like you, I don't get to do that very often, right? I took a Sunday off, and they decided, John, let us do it without you. I'm like, okay, right? So I went out into and I was just in the other room in case they needed me, right? And I remember everything went quiet, and I'm like, is everything okay? And I went in, and they were starting off the practice with prayer. Mm-hmm. There was no adults with them, it was just them. These are previously unchurched children. They're about to practice leading God's people in worship, and they've decided this. Because we always pray before a practice, that's what they do. Yeah. I wanted to cry. You can't imagine what it's like, guys. When you hear from a young person who, they don't even go to church on a Sunday, you know, they're going in a direction. They're probably going to turn up one day, you know, because God takes people on weird paths. He really does. But you know what? When they come to you and they say, you don't know this, but all those years ago, you saved my life. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for this youth work. You can't imagine what that feels like. And that's happened a lot more than once. You can't imagine it. Guys, you can't imagine what it's like. But you can experience it. And I want you to experience it. I want you to know what I know. Because you know what? It's heartbreaking work at times. It really is. They stab you in the back and they don't even know they've done it because they're kids and they're still learning. You know, they run you ragged. They treat you like a taxi. They break things. They make a mess of things. But you know what? 100% it is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. And I want you to experience that. I want you to know what it feels like. So how about this? There are 10,000 young people in this area. Did you know that? I checked. There are 10,000. That's not including little kids. I'm talking youth club age, right? There's 15,000 including the little ones. But I'm talking in youth club age. There are 10,000 young people in this area, and they're all hurting. They're all broken, whether they know it or not, and they are all desperately searching for something. If even 1% of them find it here, you need a new building that week. Would you like that? Yeah. Come on. This is it. Guys, you've got the ball. You've got the ball. And I mean, imagine, right? All 1%. Go on, someone tell me. 1% of 10,000 is? 100, right? Imagine you got 100 young people in this room in addition to you, right? Imagine you don't just reach them, you empower them. Yeah. And then you set them free on this town. The town changes that day. Yeah. Come on. This is it. Right? Guys, you're not the generation. You're here to raise the generation. One of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite quotes is from Doctor Who, right? And it's where he said this. He said, great men are born in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the spark. And you know what? I'm okay with being the spark lighter. I'm okay with the fact that I'm not the generation. I'm not it. I'm not the revolution. I'm just the baggage handler. I'm okay with that. They're the revolution. And I will sell my soul to get them there. I will do whatever it takes to build them up and to empower them and to unleash them, because they're going to change the world. I believe they're going to change the world. But they're the kids of Prescott. We're the kids of Warrington. Well, they're just out the door. They're just out there. All they need is you. All you got to do is make sure you don't drop the ball, because you've got the ball. We need to leverage this awesome Sunday experience that you've got, because otherwise you're going to be cool until you run out of pitch and find you've got no one to pass that ball to. We've got to start today. In fact, we should have started before today. Here's the good news. Are you ready? 75% of churches in this country don't have a youth work. 75%. And they have no clue how to build one, many of them. Which means that 75% of churches in this country risk being gone in a generation. You guys, you have a great youth work. Yeah. Did you know that? Do you know that? You have a great youth work. Come on, where are you? Where are you? Come on, come on, come on. Come on, Alicia, come on. Alex, where are you? Come on. Where's Alex? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, he's there. He's right in front of me. Right. Stand right there. Okay, right. So, yep. I'm joining in. I'm doing this. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Right, good. Don't look nervous. This is good. This is you. Right, okay. Right, listen up. All right. All right, take your seat. Right, so here's the truth, right? You have a great youth work, and in case you didn't know, your youth work has had 300% growth in 10 months. Did you know that? 300% in 10 months. If they keep going the rate they're going to go, in a year it'll be more like 500%. However, we don't want that to happen. You really don't want that to happen, because you have a great youth work, but you have a great youth work that can go no further. The amount of young people it's got is literally as many as they can handle. They can't do any more. And I get asked to consult at youth works literally around the world. I mean internationally. I've been doing it for a long time, and I can tell you this. They are at the limit, and if any more young people start coming, they are either going to burn out trying to keep it all together, or they're just going to get overwhelmed with more young people than they can handle, and at that point it all falls apart, possibly with the police involved in your building burning down. And nobody wants that, right? They are at the absolute limit of what they can do. And this is not a limitation of them, it's the fact that they're two human beings with one pair of hands each. Right? Now, Moses needed someone to hold his hands up. They need you to hold them up. You good? All right, cool. Right. So, I'm just going to ask you guys to just take a seat right there, because you're staying here the whole time. Right? No, this is it. Because I want you to see this, right? Guys, they have done an amazing job building up the first part of your next generation. Right? But they need you. They cannot do it on their own. This is the church, not this. So the young people that you want to come here, they need to meet this, not this. Because what happens is they come on a Friday, and after a while, they're going to get curious about coming on a Sunday, and one of two of them will. If they come here and they don't recognize anybody, then this isn't their church. They might as well come to this youth group and go to another church. So what they need is people from this church, and I'm going to say this, especially people at the front who are the face of the church, to be there on a Friday so that they know this is who I'm meeting when I come. Oh, I know these people. I feel at home. I'll come back. Right? But also, these guys need help. I mean, so much of what it is just being there so that you're familiar to them. That's it. But you know what? Some of the youth work involved, it actually takes work. Right? I'm going to show you what that work is. What you do is you do something like this. You get that from there, and you put it there. And that's it, right? Because like 90% of youth work is just shifting stuff around. Would you agree? I mean, so much of it is just moving things around, sitting at a door, writing people's names down so we've got a fire register. I mean, is that beyond anybody? Guys, youth work is easy. Youth work is really, really easy. Honestly, guys, I can tell you this. No qualifications needed. Not a one. Right? The person in charge probably needs to know what they're doing, but most of it, they just need you to be skivvies. I'm sorry to just put it like that, but that's what it is. But more than that, it's this. Right, so I'm going to tell you about me as a youth worker. In so many ways, I'm a failure. Because I've failed at so many things. I have gotten so many things wrong. I've made so many terrible mistakes. When I started, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. There were just some young people, and I just kind of fell in love with them. And I was just like, I need to do something for you. Just exactly like these guys have done. I mean, so that's why I love working with these guys. I recognize who I was then in these guys. And I wish that I had had someone like me when I was someone like them. But more than that, I wish I had had people like you when I was someone like them. Because you are more important. Because I didn't have anyone to guide me, but I did have support. So I made all my mistakes along the way, and I made a lot of mistakes. Oh, good grief. I'm surprised I'm not in prison right now, to be honest with you. Because on it, not in a weird way, but I tried a whole bunch of stunts, and it's like, if it had gone wrong, I mean, I would have people in the hospital and all kinds of stuff. We've had a few ambulances out, but none of them were my fault. Just trust me on that, right? Okay. But guys, here's the thing. I've made so many mistakes along the way, and I've got all kinds of things wrong, and I have not been a perfect youth leader at all, any stretch of the imagination. And when like a whole bunch of people let me down, I tend to take it out on the ones who are still in the room, because I'm suddenly all stressed and het up and everything's going wrong and I don't know what to do. And don't nod, right? In fact, no, right. Every single one of my youth knows what it's like to be around Ratty John, right? You all know what it's like to be around Shouty John, right? But here's the thing. For all my failures, for all the things I've gotten wrong, for all the things I've been making it up as I go along, for all the times I get in a bad mood, I'm in a bad temper, let me ask you, have I loved you? Are you in any doubt that I've loved you? Because ultimately that's all you need to do. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to love them. You don't need to be a genius with youth, you just need to love them. All those things that I showed you, the solution to all of them is someone to love them. Just unconditionally. Just drop your guard and just love them. That's it. And that's what I see in these guys. They just love these kids. And all they need is more people to come along and say, these kids are worth loving too. The Father loves them. And I want people to see the Father in me. So I'm going to love you. That's it. Could you do that? Could you do that? Because here's the thing, guys. In case you're wondering what Jesus thought about this kind of thing, Jesus didn't mince words. I love that he was always quite direct about it. He said, allow the children to come to me. Now, the more prominent version of that, more famous version is where he said, suffer the children to come to me. So yeah, it's going to be inconvenient. Put up with it. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone. Put up with it. They're worth it. They're messy and they break things. Put up with it. They're only things. These are people's lives. Oh, but it's not my thing. Just make it your thing. Put up with it. It's okay. It's all right. Just put up with it. It's okay. Because while the disciples were arguing about who is the greatest in the kingdom, again, Jesus didn't mince his words. In this exact same passage, he said, these are the greatest in the kingdom. These. They need you. Around you, you are surrounded by young people who need vision, and you can give it to them. They need direction, you can give it to them. They need someone to love them, you can give it to them. They're worth it. Are they worth it?
Yeah.
Are they worth it?
Come on, yeah.
Let me ask you, what is the faith of the next generation worth to you? What will you suffer? What is it worth to you? What will you put up with? What will you overcome? What will you walk through? Because, we could look at building the church and it's all about, getting numbers in here so that, Urban doesn't have to close down in 20 years. We could look at that, but that's selfish. We could look at, is England going to be officially a Christian nation anymore? Well, that's just a badge. This generation are in need. They're searching, they're hopeless, and they need Jesus. Guys, you know Jesus. Because 100 generations, as stupid as most of them were, didn't fail. They passed the ball on. Now it's our turn. Don't drop the ball. So, got a lot of agreement in the room, and that's good. I like it. But you know what? I'm not a fan of just nodding and ooming on a Sunday. So, I'm calling you out. This is it. It's time to stand. If you believe that the next generation, if you believe that they're worth it, if you believe that the faith of the next generation is worth your time, if you believe that you're willing to suffer just a little bit of inconvenience. We got a guy in the room today who's had to run away from his country because they wanted to kill him for being a Christian. I'm not asking you to suffer that. I'm asking you to suffer a little bit of inconvenience. Put a few hours out of your week. A few hours out of your week. Just step outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Get to know these young people. Take the risk and experience what I've experienced and fall in love with them. Your life will be forever changed. And as their faith grows, it will build your faith in you. you willing to take the risk of believing me in that? Because if you are, if you're ready to stand with them, if you're ready to get behind them, if you're ready to build the next generation of this church and say, I won't drop the ball, I will pass it on, and I will do the work till it's done. If you are willing to build this next generation and create a world for the young ones to inherit, because you deserve a great world to grow up in. And it's our job to give it to you, and I will do whatever it takes. Will you? If you will, stand up. Stand up right now. Because you know what? This isn't the future of our church we're talking about. This isn't the future of our nation we're talking about. This is the future of 10,000 lives in this town we're talking about. I think it's worth our time. So here's what we're going to do. Us three are going to throw one of these to you. If you're stood, we're going to throw you one of these. Right, while some music plays from the back, just giving you a heads up, right? And one of you tunes in the background, right? We're going to throw you one of these. I want you to write your name on it, and I want you to chuck it back onto the stage. All right? Because this is a commitment we're making here, okay? Don't write your name down if you're not going to do it. All right? Now, you guys are sat down because you're at my church, right? Okay, good. All right, that's cool. All right, so here's what's going to happen. Guys, there's pens on chairs all around the room. If you're at the back, I think Warren's got some pens there. So, right, guys, let's get these to everybody until they're done, right? Okay, come on.